fam, welcome back to my channel. My name is Princess. I'm an international student living in Toronto, Canada, and I moved to Canada in September of 2022 with my son, and I've been getting lots of questions like, oh, what's up with daycare? How do I find a daycare? How much is it? What are the types of daycare? Daycare questions basically. And so this video is for everybody that is coming to Canada with a toddler, like toddler before 4 years, like 0 to 4 years old, because you only get the free school from 4, but under 4 you have to go to a daycare. So this video is for all of you out there. Yeah, so let's dive right in. So today we are going to be talking about everything you need to know about daycare in Canada, Toronto specifically, because that's where I am. Let me not talk about other places, Toronto specifically, but I feel it applies to a lot of places. So first of all, we're going to talk about the types of daycare. There are 3 types of daycares. You have the licensed childcare centers, which is like the institution, like it's daycare, it's an establishment daycare. And then you have the licensed home care. So these are daycares that are done in the home, like in people's homes, but they are licensed with the province. They've met the minimum requirements and all that stuff. They are licensed, but it's held in the home. And you also have the unlicensed home care. So this is also held in the home, but they are not licensed. Basically like someone babysitting your child, but they have structure, there are other kids and stuff like that. Not structure in that way, but they have like games, they do outdoor times and stuff. So unlicensed home care is held in the home, but they don't have license. What is the wait time for childcare in Ontario? So I would say if you're coming to school January 2024, and you've not waitlisted your child in like 20 places minimum, you are wrong. Like, it's already late. Forget about it. Like, it is late. If you're coming September 2023, definitely you would have waitlisted your child. Else, like, I don't even know what to tell you. So the waitlist in Toronto is very long. Like, I was so shocked because I waitlisted Asha in January 2022. I was meant to come in September. I waitlisted him January ending February. Until now, this is August 2023. I've not even gotten one call back from all the places I waitlisted. The waitlist in Toronto is very, very long. Very, very long. Like, there are some places I even waitlisted and I called and were like, oh, their average wait time is 2 years. Bruh, 2 years. At 2 years, Asha is ready to move to kindergarten. Like, the waitlist is so long. Although this depends on where you're staying. Disclaimer, I stay midtown, downtown axis, so it may be harder to get here. But if you're like staying at the outskirts, it may be easier. But just to be safe, if you're coming as an international student, I would say use your school as a location and then look for daycares all around and just wait list. Like, fam, you need to wait. I can't even overemphasize this. Like, you need to wait list like minimum 20 places. If you have an idea of where you're going to live, just target that place and wait list everywhere, because the wait lists are so long. It takes time. People here start waitlisting their kids when they are pregnant. It's not like in Nigeria, you want to go to school like, fam, you just take your child to school that day, you register them. As you're registering them, they can even start school that day with their mufti, with their own clothes before they get their school uniform. Here, the waitlist is so long. So if you're coming with an infant, you're coming with a toddler, fam, immediately you get your admission letter. Start waitlisting. Immediately you get your admission letter, start waitlisting. I waitlisted immediately I got my admission. I still didn't get in. So maybe get it immediately you decide to come to Canada. So when we first came, Asha was in a licensed home care, and he did that. He went there for like 2 weeks before I now moved him to a licensed child center, which is the institution. And why did I move him from a home care to a child care center? For me, the home care was amazing. It was close to my house. It was, luckily we were able to get a spot. And that's something, the home care, usually it's easier to get into a home care than to get into a child care center. Depending on where you live though, but it's easier to get into a home care than a child care center. So I moved Asha because Asha moved here when he was 18 months. And at that point, I had no daycare, like nobody had called me. And then I learned about the home care, and I now called them, inquired and registered, and luckily a spot opened. So the thing, home care would ask of your address and they'll find homes around your address. So the advantage of home care is that it's usually close to you. It's close to your house or close to your office. I think you have to provide 2 addresses, and then they'll find places close to you and then assign you. You go for like your tour, you look at the house, meet the owner, and that kind of thing. So Asha loved the home care because it was an easy transition for him. When he was in the Bahamas, he only played with his friends. Like he had like 3-4 friends he was always meeting up with, and he only played with them. So he's not even been in like a big city, and he didn't know what daycare was. So I didn't want to just put him in like a regular institution and then he's thrown in a class of like 15, 16 people. Bruh, it's not I didn't want to put him, I actually didn't get in. But then this is what I've been telling myself for the past few months that I've started believing it. So I didn't get into any institution, and then the home care was a better option for us transitioning Asha. I think that's a better statement. So the home care was a better transition for us because there were only like, I think 4 or 5 other kids. So it was easy for him to like get to know people. He wasn't like in a big space. So that was perfect. Like, he blended in well, he started making friends, he loved the place. And the lady we had, our carer, she was so good. The homeowner was so good. She played with Asha. She was amazing. Like, she would take care of him how I would take care of him. So that's the advantage of a home care, because you get to meet mothers and people that have kids or have had kids. So they don't see it, it's not like a job for them. It's more like they put their heart into it, I would say, because his home care was very good. And then it's in a home setting. They still don't allow TV there, but at least he had like the couch, he could play, he had things to play. The home care, you don't just sit at home though. It's not like someone babysitting your kid. Like, you still get to go out. Like, Asha then used to always go to the Elion Center, and he would have different activities. He would go to like different places, the library. She actually took them out. They had like outdoor time, indoor time, nap time and stuff like that. So that was amazing. Like, I really didn't want to leave, and it was so close to my house. Like, in winter, it was like so good. I'm really scared of winter now because now I have to commute. But then why I moved Asha was because Asha was 18 months, 19 months-ish then. And I wanted him in a more structured place for like where he had like his own age group, like fellow 2-year-old, like 18 months to 2 years or 18 months to 2.5 years. They were having plays, they were having books, they had games and things that could help him like build himself and grow, because the home care is actually a mix of like different age groups. I think you can have only 3 or 2 people less than 2, and then the other ones, they're like 5, they're like 4, they're like 3. So I felt like it wasn't really structured to him. And Asha haven't lived in an island for so long. Anyway, in his little baby life for so long, I wanted him to have like structure where he could learn more about speaking and like talking and yeah, like all those kind of things. I wanted that for Asha, and that was the only reason why I moved him, just so he has more structure. So and then the home care, when you're in the home care, if the homeowner is traveling or something, they're going to allocate you to another like home care for them to stay temporarily. So that happened that period, and I wasn't comfortable with that because I had to always like move him to a new place when she went on vacation and stuff, which is fine. But for me, it didn't work for me because I'm alone with Asha. Like, the only thing I need stable is Asha's schedule and my schedule. It needs to be stable. I can't afford to have something messing up our time, like, because there's nobody else to like help me take him somewhere, which will now I'll be running late for work or would affect my school or something. So I needed stability. That's another reason why I moved Asha to a childcare institution, a childcare center, instead of the home care. But if you're coming here and you have people to help you, someone to help you, or you're working from home, or you're quite flexible, then the home care will be good. But I needed a level of stability that I knew the childcare center would give. And also in home care, the home care was when kids have like runny nose, and like once the runny nose is no longer clear, like maybe there's a little color, not like the green, but like light green, you have to pick him up, because they're like little kids there with one person taking care of like 5 kids. So one kid can't be sick. So if you have any trace of sickness, like if little fever coming on, anything, you have to pick him up. And that annoyed me so much, because they will call me like, Asha is sick, you have to pick Asha up. And I go there and Asha has like, his nose is running, like it's winter. You would expect his nose to run, but it wasn't like green mucus, like he's very sick. It's like, doesn't even mean anything. And then I always have to pick him up. But in the child center, like everybody, like, you understand, toddlers always have runny nose, and that was fine. Like, they only call you when he has a fever. So the child care center would call you when he has a fever, and you have to come pick him up. And when you pick him up, he can't come to school the next day. So he has to stay home and then come the upper day. So that's something else in childcare. You know, in Nigeria, if your child is sick, like the teacher will just take care of the child and you move, like they'll tell you to bring the medicine or something. But here, like, nobody takes drugs from you. They can't take a drug from you unless it's like allergy or like serious sickness the child needs, but they won't take like Tylenol. So if Asha is sick on Monday, I have to go pick him up immediately. Else they'll keep calling, like, you have to pick them up immediately on Monday, and then he can't go to school on Tuesday, and then he goes to school on Wednesday. And then if the fever comes back on Wednesday, he can't go to school on Thursday, and then he goes back on Friday. And it's just like that. So that's something you should know. If your child has a fever, that means like 2 days, like, it's gone, and you pay like regardless, because you pay. So that's something you should know about childcare. So the childcare centers are government regulated. They have qualified instructors. So the instructors in the childcare centers, they're like graduates of like ECE, like early childhood education. Like, these are people that are qualified to take care of your child. Like, they went to school to read this. So that's the advantage of the childcare center. But the home care center, you don't need to have a qualification. You just need to get like your first aid and some other certifications, and that's it. But childcare center, these are people that went to school to learn this, so they know how to communicate with your child better. They know, like, okay, what approach to use, even helping them to eat, helping them to learn and stuff like that. And also the childcare centers have designated activities for the children. So infant class, they have a game, they have a whole thing designated for them. Toddlers, they're different. Preschool, they're different. But in the home care center, everybody does the same thing. Like, everybody does the same thing. It's not designated. And also, childcare center has to meet a certain standard of care. So that's the good thing with them. They have to meet a certain standard of care. But the home care center, the licensed home care center, also has to meet a certain standard of care, not as high as the child care centers. And the unlicensed, they are more flexible. They are more flexible. That's why you do the home tour and look around and make sure, okay, is this the kind of house you want your child to be in? That's something you need to also consider. and also ask about outdoor time. Like outdoor time is very essential here, especially if they don't have like the kids need to go outside. So make sure you ask about outdoor time. When do they go out and stuff like that? And also food. When it comes to food, in Canada, the daycare feeds your child. Like you don't have to pack any lunch, which is, oh, I love it, because I can't even start packing lunch for Asha. Like I don't know how to eat like the food they eat here, like the sandwich and chips all the time, and I can't be packing Nigerian eba and jollof rice every day for Asha to eat. So I'm so happy that they provide food. So when you're looking for childcare, make sure you check the food and what kind of food they provide. So some people feed like chicken nuggets and fish sticks and, you know, things like that. And you need to know, like, okay, is there a chef on ground? Are they giving them packaged food? Are they giving them like food from the freezer? You need to know what kind of food your child is eating if you're particular about that, which I am. So when he was in the home care, he was eating homemade food with a little bit of sometimes chicken nuggets, which I didn't like because I don't feed Asha's chicken nuggets. So that was another thing that was like, I really didn't like that. But if you're not particular about food, anything goes. But I'm particular about food. So when I found this new place, I needed to make sure like they were feeding him like organic thing, which is very common. Like almost all daycare, like a lot of daycares actually feed like organic things. They don't do like the whole chicken nuggets and freezer foods, because I don't do that. So I don't want Asha going to eat like this freezer food all day, every day at daycare. So that was something that was like, okay, a deciding factor for me. I needed to see their menu. And you can always check their website. You see the food, you see the menu, you have an idea what they feed the child, what they will feed your child. So please check so you know. But no, you can't bring outside food into the daycare. Like Asha's daycare, you can't bring outside food, even his home care, because of allergies. There was someone in Asha's class, a toddler that was allergic to milk. So if you're coming from Nigeria, this may sound as a shock to you, because in Nigeria, we don't have allergies. Like nobody has allergies. Like everybody eats everything. But here, because of allergies, they don't allow you to bring outside things into the daycare, outside food especially, because kids are allergic to different kind of things. So take notes. Before you put your child in like a daycare, I would advise, if it's an infant, if it's a toddler, like, okay, try to know what the food menu is and have an idea. Make sure your toddler like eats some of those things, because you don't want to take your child to school and they don't eat any of the things that their daycare would feed them, because they will just be crying all day and it will just be a whole mess. Like they're not going to adapt easily and it will just be crazy. So please check the menu and check what your daycare is offering, so you have an idea what your child will be eating. This video is so long. This may be my longest video. And also subsidy. If you're an international student, you do not qualify for subsidy. Subsidy is for residents, permanent residents and citizens. So subsidy is basically the reduced daycare for residents and citizens, which we do not qualify for. But there's something called the Canadian-wide Learning and Child Care System that started last year, where the Canadian government plans to reduce daycare to $10 a day. Right now, we're paying daycare like $60-something a day, $50-something a day. So they plan to reduce daycare to $10 a day by 2025. So not all daycares are registered. The registration window has closed, just so you know. So when you're calling or you're checking for daycares or you're inquiring, make sure you ask them, are you registered under the Canadian-wide Learning and Child Care System? Because some people will say no, they are not registered and you have to pay full fees. Right now, I think we're on 55% off the main fee, and I still pay $440 bi-weekly every 2 weeks for Asha, and Asha is in preschool. And then somebody called me, one of the ones I waitlisted, and they were like, oh, there's an opening in their preschool class. I'm like, okay, what are your fees? And she's like, it's still 1,000 something. I'm like, I'm not going to be paying 1,000 something when I can get it cheaper. So please ask about the Canada-wide learning and childcare system. So with that, you're paying just 55% off the original price. Canada pays the rest for you. So make sure you ask them so you're not paying full price unless you are stuck then. Yeah. And how to find daycare in Canada. Number one, Google. Google is your friend. Google it. Daycares in Toronto. It will show. Daycares in this, daycares in that. Google is your friend. Once you Google it, all the daycares will come out. Their information is there. Some of them have their prices. So you don't have to worry about like, oh, I can't find daycare, or you need to use your leg and walk up and down. No. Google it. You're going to find it. Secondly, another way to find daycares is Google Maps. So I use Google Map a lot when I was looking for daycare. So you put the address you want, like maybe your friend's address or wherever, if you know somebody, or your school address, and then you just write daycares near me, and it brings up all the daycares around your areas. And it brings up all the daycare around your area so you can find it easily. And also, if you're looking for home care, write home care near me, home care in Toronto. Don't write daycare and you're looking for home care. If you're looking for home care, write it so you can find which one. And also, when it comes to home care, there are two types. There are people that do personalized service, like if I'm a homeowner, I want to do home care, I'm on my own, I do it. And then there's people that go under a body. So in Toronto now, one of the most popular one is WeWatch, WeeWatch, WeWatch, where they have little like independent home carers under their umbrella. So that is like a faster way. You contact the WeWatch in your area and then they'll find the homes close to you. That is easy peasy. I used WeWatch and it was really nice. Their communication is good. They were answering my emails immediately. It was really nice, apart from the personal issues I had, which was just my preference. It wasn't like they had issues. So that's something you can consider. I used WeWatch and one of my friends is also using WeWatch and she had a good experience. Again, this is not an ad, this is not sponsorship, I'm just sharing my experience. So another way to find daycare is word of mouth. Like if you have a friend here that tells you, oh, my child goes to this daycare, or maybe you go to church and you see another person with a toddler, you can always ask like, oh, what daycare do your child go to? That's another way to know daycares around your communities, just in case. And also neighborhood groups. So I'm a fan of neighborhood groups. Go to Facebook. Every neighborhood have a group. You enter there, you can ask questions. I'm looking for home care, I'm looking for daycare, and they'll tell you their experiences. They'll recommend people for you, like if you're looking for a home care. So neighborhood groups are nice. Then another one, if you see their banners, like you're driving by or walking by, you see the daycare. You found a daycare. Next, Instagram advert. Once you start looking for daycares in Canada, your Instagram algorithm is just going to start bringing daycares up on your feed. So that's another way to check. And also for the unlicensed home care, they will disclose to you that they are unlicensed. But just in case they didn't disclose to you earlier enough, you can ask them, are you licensed or are you unlicensed? And then they'll tell you. So you have an idea what kind of home care you're going to. And both the licensed home care, regular unlicensed home care, child care centers, they tend to infants, toddlers, preschool. Some people do after school care. That you will see mostly in home care. Like if you have like a 5-year-old and you have like a 2-year-old, you can put them in the same home care, and then your homeowner will take your 5-year-old to school and then bring them back, and then you just pick up your 5-year-old in the evening. I don't know if that makes sense, because regular school closes early. It doesn't close late like daycare. So daycare usually runs from, most of them, from 7 a.m. to like 6:30 p.m. or from 6:30 a.m. to like 6 p.m. That is the time for regular, both unlicensed daycare, licensed daycare, and daycare centers, usually 7 a.m. to 6 p.m., 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. So consider that, ask them the time they operate, because I think the unlicensed daycare I checked out, she was running 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. While the one I went for, I ended up going for, that one ran from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. And then the childcare center now ran from 7 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. So take note of that. And also, if you're late to pick up your child, they start charging you $1 for every minute. So every minute you're late is $1. 2 minutes, $2. 3 minutes, $3. So take note of that and settle for a daycare that the time works for you. Like the time works for you and give you enough room to wiggle. So I think that's all about daycare. Like I've said so much about daycare, and I hope I really made sense, or you really like got something, or you shall got something from it, because I've just been babbling. I think that's all about daycare. But fam, the main thing is, please waitlist your child early, because the wait time in Toronto is so long. Like it's so long, you'll be shocked. Like the demand and supply is just not aligning. It's not aligning. So anyway, that's all for this video. This is the longest video I've done. Like my mouth is paining me. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it and you got 1 or 2 things from it. Please like this video, share it, turn on my post notification. I don't know if it's my or your. Turn on the post notification button, because fam, soon once I blow on this channel, I won't be sending broadcast message up and down. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm going to see you in my next video.